I'm Joshua Simon.
I'm Sam Joe.
And we are
the SG Boys, that little gay podcast from Singapore.
Subscribe and find us on Instagram at the SG Boys.
So Samjo and I got invited to the premiere of season 3 of the hit web series that crossed 2 million views on YouTube so far, nominated for an Emmy, and this is a Singaporean production.
Yeah, a local born and bred production.
Yes, I went to the premiere. This was at Cine Leisure where the projector is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was alone.
Oh yeah, okay. I knew you were gonna bring that up. I'm so sorry. I was late.
No,
I was late. It was gonna be a double date. Me and Josh. Okay, I didn't really have an excuse. It's just that I was stuck in Sentosa. I went to the beach. It was the wrong day to go to the beach, obviously, because it was a rainy day. It was pouring. So I was trying to call a cab and I just couldn't. No one wanted to come pick me up. So I was stranded there for a bit. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just glad you managed to make it just in time. I thought we were going to watch one episode of People Like Us. But if you've seen People Like Us, you know the episodes are about 10 minutes max, right? So we watched the entire 3rd season.
Woo!
With us right now on the show is the creator of People Like Us and one of the biggest fans of the SG Boys, right?
Yes, I am.
You better say
From day one.
Give it up for Leon Cheo.
Yeah, Leon to the house.
Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with introducing People Like Us to People Like Us.
I like to describe it as a show about 4 gay men finding love, sex, and everything in between in Singapore. I co-developed it with Action for AIDS and gayhealth.sg. This was 2014 when I met them at a Pink Dot event. I have been doing some videos for them back then. They reached out to me, we talked, and they said we're interested to find someone to create and develop a web series about 4 gay men. And that was just basically what they told me. And I said, okay, sure, but it can't be preachy. I don't think we are in the era where it's the pre-2000s where there's a lot of preachy AIDS education and HIV awareness kind of campaigns. And surprisingly, they agreed to my take to it. And off I went. They did give me the so-called mandate of having different age groups, different ethnicities, so that they can target different communities in that sense. And of course, it's also for diversity, which is very, very important for the show. We want to represent across the board different ethnicities as well. A lot of local shows don't have that ability to sometimes. People Like Us is a entertaining yet educational show about gay men and gay life in Singapore and the issues that gay men face. It is about my characters negotiating risks or not negotiating risks with regards to their sexual health, with regards to dating. For me, at least when I was approaching the project, being realistic and being relevant is very important. We didn't want characters who were just saints. We wanted characters to sometimes make mistakes and either learn or not learn from them and then face the consequences.
I think the first thing that I imagine a Singaporean filmmaker will be faced with such subject matter is that even allowed? A show like this? Where can it come out? How can it reach an audience?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, Josh. And that's honestly why the show is a web series, and that's honestly why the show lives on YouTube. Our government doesn't censor YouTube and the internet as much as it does movies and theater and even publications and music. It was kind of a no-brainer too, because we also wanted the show to be freely available to our target audience. We didn't want a huge barrier in terms of cost, because there are sexual health and public health messages embedded into the narratives. Thankfully, we have that space that we can use to make the show and have the show happen. Yes, even same-sex sex scenes aren't that commonly filmed in Singapore. And we also have to fall under YouTube's community guidelines. So the type of nudity is a certain type of nudity. It wouldn't be European style art film nudity.
Yeah. Not full frontal.
Not full frontal. It's all simulated, of course, but highly suggestive that it is realistic.
And when we talk about YouTube restrictions and guidelines, I was trying to catch up on the earlier seasons because YouTube made me sign in because I was watching it on the bus. And then after when it got to some of the sex scenes, I was looking over my shoulder.
Right,
because,
to forward.
Yeah. I mean, not even that, but I kind of made the brightness a bit lower phone because I wasn't sure. If people behind me would think I was watching porn on the bus or something, you know.
Actually, even though I shouldn't feel that way, I do feel that way sometimes. Because the show was only recently finished, and I've in the past few weeks before the premiere, I was also still reviewing some of the stuff on like MRT and things like that. And then I'll be a little bit like, okay, hopefully nobody thinks I'm watching porn.
Yeah.
Yes, the show is sexy. But I think, what's important is for me to also show that it is sex positive. It's okay to have sex like this.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we're feeling this unease is also perhaps some of this cultural upbringing that we are still getting used to in terms of how we see and process queer gay sex on screen.
Exactly. Yes. Totally agree. Like there's this lingering sense of stigma, right? At first, I told you I was looking over my shoulder, but then I was like, wait, it's just me. Like no one is sitting behind me. In fact, no one cares because if you go on public transport these days, everyone is looking at their own phone.
Correct. Yeah.
Everyone's absorbed in their own little bubble. No one really cares about what someone else is doing.
When I was in the premiere and we were watching, there were a couple of moments that was like, oh gosh, and I looked away because I was looking away because I just could not watch what I was seeing on screen because it's unfamiliar in a few layers, right? I mean, it's gay sex on screen, but Singaporeans, we don't see a lot of that. Maybe you see kind of from Western media, but you're able to understand that, oh, that's fantasy or that's make-believe or that's a film. But it's another thing when you see our own Singaporean landscapes in the background and everything, and you recognize some of these places, then it becomes like, oh my gosh, you're right. We have been, and we've talked about this in our season as well, about sort of this hyper-sexualized lifestyle that Singaporeans as gay men that we have. There's also a lot of shame in that. There's a lot of secrecy behind that, where it's kind of kept to those places and it never sees the light of day.
Yeah. So it's almost like maybe when you looked away, you were thinking, okay, I mean, it's not like you haven't seen stuff like that before, but it's more of like, shouldn't I be viewing this in the privacy of my bedroom? And,
it's a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah. And Cine Leisure, no less, at Cine Leisure.
With a full crowd.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't it special? Didn't it feel different?
It did. It was great.
It was interesting. You're among people like us.
Literally, PLU.
Yeah, and then you can now look at the scene objectively by not participating in it, but then you're also analyzing it, reflecting on your own experiences, and then you're thinking should the character be in this environment, in this position? How would I have made decisions or choices differently if I was this character? So it's interesting because we were watching it and it's a very personal experience, but it's also a very sort of a community experience as well. This is feedback for you.
Yeah.
No, this is all great.
He's taking notes. He's taking mental notes.
This is all great, and I always like to ask friends and strangers how they have received the show and how they feel about it.
I did bring up one point during the sort of press conference Q&A after the screening, which was really good because it allowed us to see the people behind the series. And one of the questions that I asked was about how this portrays people like us to people who are not like us, whether or not there was any consideration to how we are portrayed, whether it's a little bit too sexual or too dark or too tragic, and your answer to that.
Well, actually, after you asked that question, it stayed with me for the next few days until today, right now, where we're doing this recording. Your asking has made me think about it more. And I think sometimes I feel that, should I hold back a little bit? But no, that's the conclusion I've come to in the past few days thinking about your question. For the so-called mainstream audience or the straight audience, it's they don't make films and stories with this concern.
Exactly.
I think it's because we're afraid. We want to be loved. We meaning the queer community. We meaning the gay community. We've always been demonized, marginalized, and this desire to want to present a slightly palatable version of us comes from that. And I feel that. I feel where exactly when you asked me that question. And that struck me a little bit as well. Straight filmmakers don't think about this. They make films about straight people being in addiction, being addicted to drugs, for example, or having lots of sex or whatever. They don't think that it's a bad portrayal of themselves.
Yeah.
So why should we?
Yeah.
You know,
Or will someone disapprove of it? And even if someone does, like, so what? Because this is the accurate representation of this character's journey.
yeah.
Therefore, it is valid. I mean, love the question also, but I think it kind of like reminded us, like, yeah, why when we're doing things for ourselves, do we have to constantly think about satisfying others
Yeah.
or making others happy?
For sure. You know, it's
Yeah.
interesting that you mentioned that question stuck with you, because it did for me as well. And I kept going back to that moment when I asked that question and your answer. And I was reflecting as well on why that question came so naturally to me. A couple of reasons why. Okay, if my parents were to see this and they were to see that this is what my son is like and this is what his lifestyle is like, then I definitely don't want him to be a part of this environment. It's sex, it's drugs, it's people hurting each other. I wouldn't want them to see that. And you're right, exactly right with what you just said. You know, because we have been in this state for so long, we are a community that is still healing and still learning, finding open spaces where we can be. It's almost like, hey, thanks for repealing 377A.
Mm-hmm.
Life is actually beautiful. We're actually beautiful. We are more than this. Let me put a filter on it and show you with rose-tinted glasses the LGBT community. But you are right. We could identify what a lot of the characters were going through. We could identify, or we know someone who is still maybe even going through some of these things. And we recognize these places and spaces. And that's why it's kind of scary to be confronted with that.
I agree. It can be very scary. It's even scary for me because actually I invited my mom and my brother to the screening and they were there too. But I haven't had a proper conversation with her about it. But ever since this year, I've been trying to close that gap between what she knows about me and what I want to tell her.
Yeah.
And she asked for it too. So I said, okay, I'll just tell you everything you want to know and invite you to everything that I do.
Oh.
I don't know how she's taking it, to be honest. But this season, you know, has 3 characters dealing with their parents in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is nice, some of it is not so nice. Some of the things that some of my characters say are literally what I also think, like, or have thought. So, for example, one of the Malay characters says, like, oh, I think my mom will never get to know the real me. I've thought that before. And that's one of the reasons I think why I'm trying to close that bridge, because, you know, he also mentions that, like, there's a gap that he doesn't know the men.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of queer kids get that.
Yeah. Rizwan, by the way, just jumping in here, played by the lovely Irfan Kasban,
Yes.
who's been on this podcast also.
Yes.
Which was really hard to watch because
What?
he has a couple of scenes
Yeah.
in a bathhouse, and I'm like, that's the guy we interviewed. So I had to look away.
Yeah. Because it's like, yeah.
He's also very different in real life compared to his screen character.
Exactly.
Right.
Because he's so like stoic in
Yeah.
the show.
He's very stoic and very controlled in the show.
But in real life.
But in real life, he's a firecracker.
Yes. So that was quite enjoyable. You know, actually, Leon, the truth, I think Samdra and I, we should get to the truth. Okay? The reason we invited you onto our podcast is because we are hoping that you will see the glimmer in each of us here and cast us in season 4.
Oh, I see. No wonder. Okay. No wonder this was set up in like 2 seconds. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's why we said yes so quickly.
By the way, we don't have to be so serious. Like, I love this banter and stuff. So I'm going to try to lean into it as well.
Yeah. So who do you have to call?
Well, Josh, didn't you know that you are kind of featured? You were.
Technically, people like us alum. Technically.
Yeah, Josh, you know, we have one of your songs in season 2, if you recall.
It's incredible, by the way. You feature a lot of local artists and also local queer artists. At the end of every episode, there is always
That's
a
right.
song. It's very carefully chosen based on what happens in each episode. So I really like that you're also showing people like us sort of in the music industry as well.
Just a little bit about that. In season 1, we didn't have that many songs. We only had one from Gentle Bones, and the rest were just like original compositions. But from season 2, I thought of the idea of featuring Singaporean or Singaporean-born singers and songwriters, because we do have amazing talent here that needs to be discovered. We have Gene Seizure, we have Lin Ying, we have Jupiter Kid, we have Lulo again as well, because Lulo coincidentally also closed the second season as well with his song Greed, which I love. Ken Lo, Kayana, and also Aaron, who's actually Shahiran, one of the actors in my show. He's also a singer and a registered nurse, man of many talents. He's the guy who plays Hanif, the person, not a spoiler, but the person living with HIV on my show. And we also have one of his songs in episode 2.
I was very happy that you chose that particular song of mine in the show. It's called Hush. I wrote that song about queer relationship where you're very happy together. The chorus talks about how, the song's called Hush. So hush now, not here. I'll hold your hand in the car instead. Loving each other so much, but then you have to shield it from the public because you're afraid and ashamed of what you have. And the question at the end of the chorus is, but will we be here when they clear?
Hush, now I hold your hand in the car instead. Hush, now there's people looking from the corner. Hush, now, but will we be here when they clear?
Are we still here? Yeah, and I think that's something that I think a lot of queer couples also have that kind of dissonance with. It's like, okay, I won't hold your hand. I'll pretend that I'm your friend in this situation. But how are we? And how is that affecting now our relationship?
I think it affects a lot of people. That's one of the main contention in season 2 as well.
Yeah.
You know, how do you introduce me if you're a bit more closeted than not?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Josh, of course, your music is wonderful too, and that's also why we chose it.
The acting skills also not bad, actually. You just have to audition us.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
He really wants a role, even if it's just a cameo.
We've very naturally included more characters. This season in particular has a trans person in there.
That's right. In season 3, we, for the first time, have a trans character. Probably the first time in Singapore media history that a trans person played a trans character. It was also definitely a creative choice to introduce this character. However, I also wanted to make sure that it wasn't too surfacey. And it was suggested by Victoria Wondersnatch, who raised the funds for this season through her Direct Cabaret Fund for the Arts AFA show. A lot of it then began with research. I started talking to trans people that I know. I also then asked them to introduce me to more trans men that I know, because this character happens to be a trans man who also happens to be gay. But then I learned that, actually a lot of trans men, because of their transitioning, they actually tend to start dating like the opposite sex first, for example, and then, discover their sexuality or their bisexuality along the way. So it's been quite, for a cis man such as myself, it's been quite a learning journey too, to really learn what is it like to be trans.
Yeah, sometimes people just are afraid to ask questions, I feel, about things they don't know, because they're worried that, especially in this day and age, the climate is always, is it appropriate? Is that PC enough? People are scared to admit that they don't know a lot of things.
Yeah, I was scared too to also admit to things that I don't know. And I think making a show is kind of a nice excuse to really learn more.
To be as capo as you want to be.
To be as capo as I want to be. Because sometimes in real life, we also don't want to be so capo. I wouldn't ask ordinary, like, hey, how do you have sex? What's it like? That kind of stuff. It's a bit awkward, I guess, but having this opportunity really, was nice. And I could ask questions that I probably not normally ask.
Yeah.
But were you not scared going into it also? I'm just wondering, because, obviously you're very committed to your craft, right? Going by all the comments, I think people really love what you do. But there will be some naysayers. Were you worried going in that, hey, if now, especially if I'm going to introduce a trans character, what if some people in the trans community don't agree with a certain kind of portrayal? How things can get misconstrued sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Even if the intention is very good, right?
For me, as a ethnically Chinese filmmaker, telling stories of people who are not me, and there's always that fear of misrepresenting. And I think maybe that's why that motivates me to, sometimes mistakes can happen.
Yeah.
Zane's character, the way he prays, how he prays, is something I was also learning, but also don't know enough. But thankfully, I have some Malay crew members who stepped in and say, hey, this is probably not a good idea, or the kind of stuff. All I can say is I try my best, and I've tried my best. And,
You have.
And I'll try to learn as I go along. If I made any mistakes.
I think your approach is admirable. I I don't want you to walk on eggshells. And what we've been trying to advocate with this podcast is to go with grace towards one another. That we are learning. We are a community that has been hurt and is healing. And we are now able to have these kind of conversations on platforms like social media, like on YouTube. Like, this show would not exist 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have a space for it, and we certainly won't have it with all the scenes there. We would have to go to Malaysia and buy the DVD and smuggle it over, you know.
The VCD.
Yeah, the VCD. Even then, I also don't want to paint it as too rosy per se, because as Irfan alluded to at the Q&A at the screening, he has received messages from neighboring countries, like positive messages, but actually he hasn't alluded to some of the more negative messages. Or on some episodes, if you go to the YouTube page, you'll see some more negative comments that showed up, especially because of his character. I think I do fear that sometimes my actors can get death threats and stuff, or get hate mail, and I think Irfan does get some of it. That is something that actually concerns me, and I don't know, I can't really do too much about it. I can't predict it. I do still think it's important to have queer Muslim characters on screen.
Of course, it's brave for you to do that, and it's brave for him to do that, and and you're in
honestly
this...
more him, just because I don't think I've ever gotten hate mail for that, but like I think as an actor he gets that somehow more directly,
because he's the face.
He's the face,
right?
yeah.
I mean, we respect that. On criticism, this might be a tough question to answer, but what do you say to people who see a show like People Like Us and then they click it? And I think this is something that some queer people will feel or have felt, where they're so used to the BL series, the Boy I Love series that they've been watching, or their Call Me By Your Names, where they're like, oh, this is People Like Us, I'm going to click it. Oh, wait, he's not a cute Chinese guy with six-pack. And that's the ugly truth about it, where a lot of times, I mean, back to that question I asked you about how we are portrayed, right? People like us, is that we go to the movies to escape reality, to aspire towards something else. And so much of what queer people consume, especially in pornography, is sort of twisted aspiration, where it's like, I want to see the guy that I want to be and be with having sex on screen. So if I'm going to watch a gay show, I want it to look all pretty with the filter on, with a hot guy that has to look like me, or the guy at least I want to be with.
I would say gently that this is perhaps not the show for you. I think there are two kinds of audiences. One side is, I love escapist movies. I want to see sexy bodies. I want to see explosions and visual effects and not think about my stressful day. And that's fine. And sometimes I'm like that. And then there are other times where, I'm more interested in seeing realistic portrayals of human motivations. And if that's what you feel like today, then People Like Us is for you. The show has always been in the second category. I guess that's just kind of my style as well. And what I wish to see in terms of queer people on screen, actual true-to-life locations, actual Singlish sometimes as well, because there's always the criticism of this weird English that shows up on Channel 5 sometimes, and people don't find that relevant. But to me, I love accents, I love Singlish. Granted, the show's characters talk in a bit more
modulated Singlish.
Modulated Singlish,
yeah. Don't need to put on the closed captions, still can understand type.
Correct.
Unlike me right now. What the fuck did he just say?
But I guess that's maybe how I speak most of the time, and I was just trying to put in a version of what I think is realistic and possible. Yeah, I mean, for those who like BL, I mean, all the better for you. I mean, go for it. Like, I don't want to like diss you for it.
Yeah. You know, this is actually a question we've asked on this show, Samjoy and I, but in the RuPaul's Drag Race context, where there are a lot of queer people who don't want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
It being too campy or too gay.
Yeah, they're repulsed by it even, dare I say.
Gotcha.
Like, this looks too feminine.
Yep.
Y'all shouldn't be dressed like that. And this is coming from actual gay people that I even know.
I know what you mean.
I've tried to evangelize RuPaul's Drag Race to them. I'm trying to like, you should watch like the human stories behind it, even if you don't get the splits and the death drops, even if you don't like the sassiness. there's still something there for you, and the show should be for everyone. So I've tried to do that. Like, I disagree with you in the sense where people should watch it, and they should then challenge themselves and then ask themselves why they're feeling so repulsed by it. Why are you feeling this way? It's because you don't usually hang out with people of this skin color or this body type. Maybe you should. Maybe now it's time to hear their stories, because you don't see them enough, not even in real life.
And we know that there are people like that, right? Who like Chinese only kind. I agree they should watch the show, but I don't know if I can force them to watch the show. It's what I'm trying to say.
There's only so much marketing you can do. I mean, you've done a screening, you're on this podcast, but at the end of the day, I feel like if people don't want to watch something, no amount of coercing will make them want to until they're ready. And quite honestly, it's their loss.
It is their loss. And of course, word of mouth, when people tell other people about the show and then they check it out, I would say most people like it, but if they don't like it, I mean, what can we do about it? I think that's art.
That's fine. Everyone's on their journey. The fact that it's out there, it's on YouTube for you to access it when you need that, the option is there. To some of these people's credit, I know people who refused to watch RuPaul's Drag Race for a long time and then finally did, and now are like
the best thing
doing
ever.
Doing tongue pops.
Right. I was one of them. I didn't refuse to watch it, but it didn't appeal to me. My first season was season 9.
And now you're a drag queen.
Exactly.
What can I say?
But exactly. I mean, that's like, if that isn't an example, I don't know what is, right? Like, it took me a while, like 9 seasons, and I just happened to be, but it's also circumstance, right? Like, I happened to be in a bar in New York. In the US, they have a lot of these screenings of
they
Drag
like to
Race
do
episodes.
like,
Amazing. Maybe my life would have been different if I didn't find myself in that bar with my friends in New York. I wouldn't have picked up Drag Race, So hopefully one day, Leon, people like us will be screening. Hey, we should ask the local bars to screen. Are they allowed to do that?
I know they screen it at the Saturday anonymous testing site that AFA runs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I believe they do. I don't know if it's full volume, but I'm told that they play it on the TV screens there.
Piquing their curiosity enough for them to go back and search that show up. Yeah. And I think that's what, did it for me when I was in that bar that night. I was like, okay, I like what I'm seeing. I got a taste of the iceberg. I'm gonna that's bad.
And now
analogy.
you're all in.
I got a little bit. I got a taste of the tip, and now I want the whole thing. Yeah.
Now you want all in.
I'm all in. Exactly.
All in.
All in.
You had a
Full
taste
throttle.
of honey.
Yes.
Now you want the whole beehive.
Yes.
Beyonce reference in Austin Powers and Goldmember.
To this
This is like a classic Joshua reference thing, right? Like
One
I've
of
noticed that
those.
you do this on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's whenever Josh and I in a room, we make all these like millennial references, pop culture references, which 5 other people get. Like truly. Yeah.
Do we make you uncomfortable, Leon?
No, I'm just a bit embarrassed. I've seen the movie, I think, but I can't remember that song.
We need to take you out.
We will jolt your memory, yeah. But it's that scene where
I think we can move on from that.
okay.
Let's circle back to AFA. There is a storyline in season 3 which discusses U equals U.
U equals U stands for undetectable equals untransmittable. And it basically means that when a person living with HIV becomes undetectable, it is when the viral load or the viral count in his blood of HIV is so low that a test can't detect it, hence undetectable. And that's also when this person has been taking their medication regularly and religiously. So when you're undetectable, you're untransmittable. You can't pass the HIV virus through sex to someone else. It's truly, truly a game changer, and more people need to know about it. There are a couple of scientific research papers about it. The risk is 0 in terms of an undetectable status in terms of transmitting HIV. I then wanted to explore what that means to the Rai and Hanif characters. Rai is HIV negative, and then Hanif is living with HIV. We met these characters in season 2, and I was thinking, okay, what next in terms of their relationship? This was just the perfect situation where I could explore Rai's skepticism about the science at first, and then show him going through the humps and the roadblocks that he meets until he gradually accepts the science, not just because of science, but also through love, not also just from his partner, but also from his mom,
I really appreciated that when I was watching it at that screening, because I think maybe a week prior, because I work in the media, I had to report the news, and I had to do a story on the rise of reported HIV cases here in Singapore, and with how these reports go, a huge percentage of them being men, and a part of me also felt like, once again, gays were on the news, but it's this kind of news. There was no mention of how we have been progressively getting all these breakthrough discoveries and advancements in medicine. It is not a death sentence. And the quality of life for a person living with HIV does not have to be the same as in the 80s.
Absolutely. And I still read that 1st December World AIDS Day report from Ministry of Health with pain. It's very archaic. Yeah, this day and age, there's U equals U, there's PrEP. There's been PEP for a while as well, which is another form of medication in addition to PrEP. Amazing tools to learn about and protect yourself with.
Yeah, I appreciate that you had hope in your show for that. Back to the whole media thing. Even though, yes, that may be a report, and yes, it may be statistically correct, but how it comes across to the Singaporean who will hear bad news on the news or any kind of medical thing, it's always like, oh, sugar is bad. Okay, everyone, let's cut down on sugar.
Yeah.
You hear a story,
HIV is bad. Yeah.
oh, everyone's starving
gays
sex.
are bad.
You know, like, avoid these people. So that perpetuates that stigma and that fear towards the community, the LGBT community, and the fear towards each other.
Absolutely agree. And I just want to jump in on this because this fear and stigma of HIV, of any virus too, really comes from media and the past. And granted, you know, there are these like older movies like, say, Philadelphia, or other movies where Normal Heart and Angels in America, where people unfortunately die horribly from AIDS. Yes, these stories are important and these images are important to archive and to tell. But these stories and these images form the basis of all the fear and stigma that we collectively as a world have about HIV. You know, this is the reason why perhaps even my mom or someone's auntie will like, oh my God, you know, HIV, you're going to die. Because that's all they have remembered in terms of a movie or a TV show they've watched. They haven't had new information. They haven't had new shows to catch up on to change their perception. Not that many TV shows, you know, want to highlight HIV these days. I don't know why, but I wish, you know, even more straight aunties and uncles will watch the show and learn a little bit more about what's it like to be really living with HIV these days. Of course, the show doesn't tell everything, but it's just a little glimpse into that. It's not a death sentence for sure, and people live healthy, perfectly normal lives. Yeah. You're right, Josh. We need more inspirational portrayals of people living with HIV, not just in narrative shows, but documentaries and how these stories are reported. That report from MOH is still very like, abstinence is the best.
Yeah.
You know, don't have so many sexual partners. But like, that does work sometimes, but we can't always tell people you can't do certain things. And that's also why I said at the beginning of this episode, recording, we're like, the show can't be preachy. The show can't be like, no, you can't do this. It's not a show about showing people you can't do this, you can't do that. But it's about showing like what the real world is. What is it like to be gay in Singapore in the late 2020s?
Yeah.
Giving them the facts, right? And I mean, whether or not they resonate with the characters or not, also letting them decide for themselves, letting us decide for ourselves, because people like us.
I love the title, People Like Us. It's not people like me.
By the way, you guys happen to know where the title comes from?
Oh
people
my God.
like us. We
Is
got
it the
us
Kelly Clarkson
together.
song? No.
No.
Okay, I'm kidding. I just want to see your face.
But there is
a movie. There's a movie.
With that guy.
Chris Pine.
Whenever you Google People Like Us on YouTube to find the show, that movie shows up. People Like Us is the name of the first queer activist group in Singapore.
Oh.
They are called People Like Us. I believe that name also came from the fact that queer people in Singapore, gay people especially in Singapore and Malaysia, use that term as a replacement of gay. So like are you people like us? Are you PLU? So
As a euphemism almost.
Correct,
right.
correct. So I can't claim to the beauty of the title, but that was also one of the reasons why I chose to use this as the title of the show.
Oh.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
How, as in, they would actually say, "Are you people like us?" Like,
Are you PLU?
Are you PLU?
Yeah.
Oh, so
if you
that's
look
actually a
through
term.
some of the older like forums and IRC chats, and this is a thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The nuance that I was trying to point out also is us. That even though this may not be something that you directly resonate with, it may resonate with the person next to you. The hope that I have for our community is that we not just think about ourselves, because as a lot of gay people, especially in Singapore at least, we've had to kind of like fend for ourselves against the environment that we grew up in. When Kennedy was on the show, we talked about bullying in school and having to prove yourself to just convince people that you are allowed to have a seat at the table. So you're constantly thinking about yourself. That now we've come a long way and we have the ability to think as a community as well. So even though it may not be your story, it's someone else's story. And if you learn to empathize with these characters, you also know how to empathize when someone that's near and dear to you shares what they're going through as well.
I guess I'm just curious to know who, if any, is your favorite character? Who do you identify with the most?
Wow.
Fuck, I was going to ask you that question. Really?
I always get asked this question.
Yeah,
So I'm going to throw it back at you, interviewers.
I think Josh's character. Yeah.
Is it because you guys have the same...
Well, there's that as well. No, I think you cover fat shaming. You're sitting across someone who's in your community, and we're supposed to also, at the very least, be brothers and kind towards one another. But then we view each other as pieces of meat. Because I'm unattractive to you, you wouldn't spend time with me. I've got to go out of my way to kind of like reshape myself when who I am on the inside is actually exactly the same. It's like I have to go and put on a new outfit in order for you to accept me for who I am, or see the beauty in me more than accept. And I get it, everyone has their tastes, but I know what that is like, to be stood up or to have someone say, oh, you're not what I thought you were. And then that led me down like dark paths of being at war with my body more than I already am with myself. Like the exact flash I had while watching the show was from a point earlier this year when I went to Bangkok. You know, you're by yourself, foreign country, you go on a Tinder or a Grindr, right? And at that point, I remember feeling very confident with how I looked. Like I'd been working hard. I loved what I was seeing in the mirror, and I felt great. And like I had this nice conversation with this person, and then I met them, and they were so quiet. And I asked like if everything is okay. But there's just something in your mind that sometimes is the inner saboteur, but sometimes it's also because, oh, you know what this is. You know what's happening. So I asked, like, what's going on? And he said, oh, I thought you were fitter. I thought you'd be fitter. And I just like died on the inside. And in that moment, I could have just gone along with it. But I remember sort of sticking up for myself. I wasn't rude to the person, but I just said that was a very mean thing to say. But, you know, like, I thought we were just going to go to the night market and you were just going to show me around. You can't even do that with me. You know, we're outside in public. It's not like we're hooking up. We're literally just going to this night market. But I think I'm going to go. And then I went on by myself, and I had such a great night. And I'm glad that I'm able to do this now at 33. There were times when I was 20, when I was a lot more vulnerable, where I did not. And it completely like killed me, my spirit. So I like where I am now, but when I was watching that character on screen, I remembered that moment when that date said that to him. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what that feels like.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you have become stronger since it doesn't affect you as much, I hope.
Yeah. I mean, there are days that do, because these are habits that have been that way for a long time, you know? So it takes a bit of reminding. But that's one of the characters that I think I relate to. Samjo?
Right. No, but I like that story also. I mean, obviously it was a shitty thing for you to have gone through, especially when you're alone in a foreign land. But hey, at least that guy told you, and he was honest. And you also set your boundaries, right? You were like, okay, I don't want to be around this negative energy. I don't want to feel lousy about myself. And you cut it short. In a sense, you nipped it at the butt. You know, you ripped the Band-Aid off. Yeah. And you went on with your own life. You went your own separate ways. And I mean, looking back, isn't it for the better, right? A tough pill to swallow regardless. It could have been a lot worse, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And you're right. And it's not just the fat shaming thing, right? It also depends on where you're going sometimes. You know, you can go to, like I can go to America and I'm considered smaller built. You know, a Chinese guy who's usually a lot more accepted here in Singapore, you can go to another territory and then be a minority there, and then you get a different taste of that medicine. I think the rule of thumb that I just kind of go by is that if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. Not everyone has to be for me.
Yeah,
I don't have to be for everyone as well.
Your self-esteem is self-esteem. It shouldn't be dependent on someone else.
Yeah.
And then I know that, I mean, a lot of us, I mean, myself included as well, right? Grew up learning that the hard way, right? We seek people's validation a lot. I mean, who doesn't to some extent, right? I'll venture to say that even people who claim that they don't care about what other people think actually
That's
care.
a shield. That's a mask.
Right, yeah. I mean, words do bite and linger and they fester, eat into your thoughts, even if it's like years, some stuff from like years ago. Sometimes, yeah, it came back in the flesh to you in a movie, but sometimes it could be hearing a certain song and associating it with like an unpleasant memory of a guy, and everything comes flooding back. I guess what I'm saying is like, it's been rough, but learning to like detach your own self-esteem from other people's opinions. I think that's like, again, it sounds like common sense and I'm sounding preachy, which is exactly where we didn't want to go. But I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, yeah, I guess to answer your question. So the question was, which character did I relate to the most, right? I think it's always very hard for me to answer this question because like, unless it's like a autobiography.
Sam Joe the movie, or the series.
Me, hint, nudge, no. I feel like I always see a bit of myself in different characters, and it's again a cliche answer, but it's just how my mind works. You know, I'm always looking for things that I can pick out and go like, oh my god, that's so true, right?
Nice.
And I think what I like about this series is that continuous exploration of the dynamics between, you know, gay child and parents, which is something I wanted to revisit with you also, because I think at the start you said something which stirred something in me. So in a sense, I feel like I relate to you, Leon Cheo, writer and director the most, and creator of People Like Us the most, because you talked about your mom just now, and she came for the screening, but you haven't actually had a follow-up conversation with her. That's exactly me and this podcast, actually. I mean, for those of y'all who've been listening from day one, you know that I came out to my parents officially because of this podcast, and then we went into season 1, episode 1. But actually, since that tough conversation I had, and since I heard my mom crying and everything, I had like one follow-up conversation and then never again. So actually, till this day, I don't know if, you know, she's out there listening to this, / has listened to any of our previous episodes, / what she actually thinks about it. Even though I'm like 35 years old, like I'm still a kid. Like I still feel like a 5-year-old kid who's like afraid of her judgment, and again, very much yearning for her approval, and you know, I just don't want her to not be proud of me, because I am proud of what we're doing here. You know, I really am, and that's what I said to her also the first time I came out to her and talked about the podcast.
I still find it hard to talk to my mom or narrate my dad about these things. It's such a hard, scary situation to be in. I don't know, slowly, baby steps. I also want to self-reference my show.
Yes.
Remember the last episode where the Brandon Fernandez character says, the need for love and approval from our parents can be so powerful. That's kind of why I made the show too, just to have to explore these dynamics.
Only if you're comfortable answering, but do you think you will ever have that conversation with your mom? And what is your relationship even to begin with?
I think I am comfortable answering, because I want to try to blur that line. I never properly came out to them, but then this year we had a few conversations about my sexuality, and then she even asked me like, yeah, why didn't you tell me? Like, why couldn't you tell me? I said, because it's hard and scary, I said. And this was like really in a restaurant, and it's always been happening in a restaurant. Maybe that's a kind of like a safe space where we can't like go into histrionics. Yeah,
controlled environment. Right.
But yeah, so we had a revealing conversation then, and then I just said that it's hard, you know, it's scary, and I also don't know how to do it, you know. I'm just like, and that's honestly probably the first time we really sort of talked about it. Even though I'm so open about my work, you know, LGBT themes and everything, and I'm out publicly, I would even say, online. I can't do that with her or with my parents. So my dad's also kind of like the same situation. And they're divorced. So I kind of have the two conversations as well. I can't do it once.
Right.
I'm still living a double life, even though I'm so out. I want it to stop because whenever she asks me like what I did the weekend or like whatever, I still find myself lying, being more obtuse, just more, just a screening, whatever.
Just like leaving out the details.
Yeah, leaving out the details. And so in that dinner, I said, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, it's killing me. And I can't believe I was still doing that. Actually, just to backtrack a little bit, this year, Pink Dot happened a day after my birthday. I asked her if she wanted to go to Pink Dot. And she knows I'm involved in it. Like, she actually is on my Instagram, and my Instagram is open to everybody. So she stalks my Instagram. This is what I mean by this weird,
like the information is there, but you don't want to talk about it.
Correct. So then I did this crazy thing where I mass texted both my family group chats to invite them to Pink Dot to celebrate my birthday because they're so close to each other. I linked this year's like campaign video as well. No one showed up, but I had my chosen family, my friends.
Your rainbow family.
My rainbow family. But it created a reaction, which is what I wanted. And I guess being a director, I'm a bit dramatic like that. So my mom got a bit angry. She's like telling other people, like, why, asking my brother, like, why would he do this? It's so crazy. I had one cousin reply me directly saying that, he would love to come, but he can't because he's got a friend's wedding or something. The younger cousins replied me, but everybody else was like kind of crickets, which is fine. I think I can't blame them because this is honestly has only really been the first step to really try to literally destroy these lines. And I did it in a very like drastic, dramatic way. I just saw it as baby steps.
Yeah. And if I may suggest as well, I love that you asked. Sometimes let them come to you, and sometimes allow them to have that space to. We don't hide some of these things anymore. If we want to have a conversation about it, both parties show we can. I don't have to force you in that conversation. I think an analogy I can use is like I would try to cook for my dad. Like I'll try to introduce him to more than just Indian food, and I'll cook it, I'll plate it really nicely, and I'll put it on the table, say, look, I made this for you, and then they don't eat it, and then you beat yourself up for it, and then you get angry at your parents. But I realized that it was such an unhealthy thing that I was always trying to do it over and over and over again to kind of show them like, hey, look, that it was eating me up as well. Where now it's just like, I'm just going to cook and I'm going to enjoy it. I'll have a little bit more if you want. If you don't want, it's okay. If you want, the plate's here to eat.
I've not always done this. I've not done this for 38 years of my life, and that's why I wanted to do it.
You're 38?
I am.
Okay.
I wanted to open that door because I think even with being open on social media, to me that door's not satisfactorily open.
Yeah.
And so far, no one has done anything. No one has talked to me about anything. And I'm sure they've all accepted in their own ways, and of course they have their own busy lives to deal with rather than deal with this little thing. But I wanted to also reciprocate that, and that's why I did that invitation, because I kind of wanted to know where we stand in some ways. Not just with my parents, but with everybody in my family. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's been for the better. Okay. And now, if they want to come, they come. And if they want to talk about it, talk about it. And actually, some conversations have been had after that, which I never thought were possible.
Yeah, girl, I could totally relate. On so many levels. That's why, okay, so the character I relate to the most is Leon Cheo. Okay, guys, that's my official answer. I think I'm also very guilty of not opening that door sometimes. I think we talked about this before, so there's like non-stop coming out to different people. Some people may want a fuller story. Some people may not. In fact, some people would prefer not to know anything. And till now, to this day, like I said, with certain people, I'm in that limbo where, I don't really know where they stand, but at the same time, I'm scared to find out where they do. And so therefore...
It was terrifying, yeah.
Yeah, therefore I don't even invite them to come to the table with me. There is no meal plated out or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I'm talking metaphorically now because I can't cook, but you know, I can make scrambled eggs. But yeah, New Year's Eve, I actually have a drag gig. But New Year's Eve is a very like family thing. Usually I would count down with them. We would, turn on Channel 5. I don't know why, but we do. Because there's a countdown. And then there'll be a potluck and everything, and we would sing Auld Lang Syne, drink champagne and everything. It's nice. It's really good family time, and I really, really cherish my extended family. But right now, I'm like, what's my official excuse going to be? Because it's going to be weird that I'm not there. And it's one thing to say that, I'm working, right? Like, my day job. Questions asked, like, work is work. But if it's like, here's a performance, and then it's like, how much detail do I go into, right? Because, yes, I know a lot of my cousins, know about what I do. And in fact, they've come to support so many times. I love them. But I'm just wondering, how much do the aunties and uncles actually know? And by extension also, but in a way I say it by extension, but actually they're the closest. My parents, I haven't really had that. Like I said, I haven't had a proper follow-up. And the one time I actually kind of came close to it was when I think CNA was doing a documentary and they were looking for profiles, parent-child profiles.
And the recent one.
Yeah. So actually the producers contacted me and they were like, do you want to be in it? And I'm like, I'm okay. But, they were like, we need either one or both of your parents. And so I was like, it was my fault because I didn't have a conversation and I just ruled out my mom completely because, and I think if she's hearing this, like, mommy, if you're listening, like, it's not, obviously I love you so much and I didn't mean, I just didn't think that you were ready, and maybe I'm wrong and I hope so. Maybe I'm just too scared of like further, maybe disappointing anyone further, right? So I just left it out, and then I was thinking, okay, maybe my dad, there's more of a chance because he's a more outgoing person, and I actually did ask him, but I also asked him kind of like I buried the lead, like he was giving me a lift somewhere in his car, and then just before I got off, I was like, hey, I left it to do like the last 5 minutes of the journey, even though the journey was like 20 minutes, and it was a whole highway to talk, there were so many traffic lights, because my dad always likes to take, my sister and I always complain, he likes to take the traffic light route, don't know why. Yeah, he don't want to pay ERP, that kind, yeah. Very practical Singaporean,
Yes.
pioneer
course.
generation dude we're talking
course.
about here, okay? That's why I love my family, among other things. But yeah, I left it to the last 5 minutes, and this documentary that they're doing, and like they would love to, speak to LGBT children and their parents, and he's a great guy. I mean, Josh, you've met him.
Yeah.
But I also know that there are certain things that you just can't force on people, and he was actually quite. This is my first time revisiting that episode, but he was actually quite curt about it. But I know he didn't mean any harm, but he was just like, nah. I'd rather not do it. I don't want to talk about these things. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing here, of course.
Yeah.
And before anyone listening like comes for him, like, know that, my dad has been such a pillar of support and rock for me, as my entire family has, including my mom and my sister, my whole life. So I just realized there and then that, and this was, I want to say, sometime last year, or was it earlier this year? I just realized that, they also need time, and I will give them time.
Yeah.
But it's instances like that make me scared to open that door, which is very rusty right now, and, probably needs a lot of WD-40 on the hinges and everything.
I cannot not try.
Yeah.
Yes.
Plus, we're all getting older.
Yeah.
My parents are all getting older. If I try once and if it works, it works, and it doesn't, and so be it. But I just kind of need to know, because it's kind of sad if we don't connect with the people closest to us.
After the coming out situation with my parents, there was an episode of Queer Eye that I really, really resonated with, because it was a pastor's son trying to reconcile his relationship with his mom and the church. Like, that episode broke me because it related to me so much that I was in tears when I was watching it. And I wanted to show that to my mom and dad, that it is not just me that feels this way, and it can be possible for a great relationship between a parent and their kid under God. And they refused to watch it. And I would like try to time it to when they're just about to come home. Then I start the episode. It happens to kind of be on TV. Say, hey, look, look what's on TV. And I was trying so hard to show them a beautiful representation of what a queer person's life can be like, and they just kept turning it down. And I've tried directly telling them that there's something I want you guys to watch with me. I think it would be really great for us. I tried to remind them over and over again, say, hey, remember that thing we're supposed to watch? You know, I kept bringing it up, right? And they would kind of like shrug it off. And I was so obsessed with the fantasy that I had in my mind, where all of us are sitting together watching the show, and then my dad and my mom were like, oh, I understand right now, and we're all a happy family, but it just never happened. So I had to come to terms with that. I'm not looking for rejection today. That's kind of what I'm faced with when I ask myself if I want to go there. It's just like, if I want to go there, but do I want some rejection today from my parents, potential rejection? Do I need it today? I said, no, I don't need it today. It's okay. I just won't bring it up. So that's kind of like at least where I'm at right now.
I shall take that home with me.
And we've tried, you know, it's not like we have not.
Yeah.
Like we have. So you got to remind yourself that I have tried, and I will try again, but at a point when I'm okay with trying and potentially being let down, and I'm able to pick myself up.
Us coming out is difficult for us, but it's also difficult for people around us, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about this before. So they need their own space also. I maybe have been using it as a bit of a crutch also, to kind of as an excuse to say that, oh, they're not ready, right? So in a way, maybe, you know, like me ruling my mom out for the interview, it was my way of protecting her also. You know, because I was like, I just, my sense is telling me, my gut is telling me that she's not ready. And anyway, she hates public speaking and all this kind of attention. Like, she's very much not
Might
an
not be for
extrovert.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should all try to meet each other halfway. But sometimes if the other side is not ready, then it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
You know, this is not my now, but maybe later. Yes.
But you are on stage still and you're performing. I
Oh,
applaud
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because there was a time when you would not have considered doing this, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah, because it would have been too... whatchamacallit? I don't know.
Look, you
Like,
had the decision
in
to
your face.
not do this podcast.
Right.
You did. You had that decision. You were at the crossroads. I remember that point as well, where I wasn't sure whether or not Sam Joe was going to be part of the SG Boys. And
Yeah.
you made that decision.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already proud of you that you're not going to let that stop you from living a beautiful life, or at least allowing yourself to have that chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we don't really look back. I mean, okay, like, that's not true. We look back a lot, but I think we look back on like random moments. But actually, yeah, thinking back, I think my life has really changed a lot since this podcast started. You know, it just set me off on this journey
Yeah.
that I didn't see coming, and I didn't know what was around the bend. You know.
Yeah. Do you see that, Leon? The range of emotions that we're able to convey.
Yes.
If we were to be cast in season 4,
Yeah.
you see, Sam Joe was
I
just
can-
about to cry there.
I was
Just
I can
now.
see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, except that wasn't acting. Oh my god, that was
All
so
right.
I didn't expect that also.
Leon, the floor is yours. Tell us where we can watch people like us.
The Gay Health YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/gayhealth. New episodes come out every Thursday, 9 p.m. Singapore time.
Or if you're listening to this a little bit later, as one does, chances are all the episodes are already on the YouTube channel, so you can go binge watch them, because I feel like that's the best way to do it sometimes.
Yes. I'm Joshua Simon,
I'm Sam Joe,
and we are
The SG Boys.
that little gay podcast from Singapore.
Subscribe and find us on Instagram at The SG Boys.
The beliefs, views, and opinions expressed on this podcast are attributable to its hosts only and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, organization, company, or individual.